Welcome back. Let's now get you the latest coming in from Sri Lanka. A little over a week after the terror attack which claimed over 250 lives, life in Sri Lanka is slowly limping back to normalcy.
Well, Miranow's team is in Sri Lanka and is tracking all the developments on the ground after the blast that took place in Colombo. Now, curfew has been lifted in the country and local markets are opening up to the public. However, schools are likely to remain shut for the next 5 days. Miranaw spoke to a civil organization member who sought additional security at places of worship.
Venerable K. Vijitha now joins us. He's a part of civil organization here in Sri Lanka. If you can tell us at this point, you've come here to the police headquarters. What was the message that you had come here for?
We gave the message to establish the security in our mother country. We can see now our security forces, right? That is their responsibility. They have to protect our people, innocent people, our citizens and our properties, everything perfectly, immediately. Focus the security, our Buddhist temple, build up the security committee in the temple, okay, with the village people, Buddhist monk and every leaders and every people.
Well, our correspondent Amita Balachandra spoke to Sri Lanka's Minister of Economic Affairs, Harshad Silva.
Now, Harshad Silva admitted that there was a sense of complacency earlier, but the government is not running away from that responsibility. He added that the ban on social media platforms was a temporary move to combat fake news.
Retrospectively, you can always, say, look, this didn't happen, that didn't happen. I am beyond that. When I said what I said, that heads must roll, I was in that state of mind, and I think I was not wrong in saying that, because we see it has already happened, right? But we got to look forward from here, right? Let the investigators find out why it happened, right? President has appointed a 3-man commission, and they are already sitting, and from what I understand, they are already gathering information, evidence as to who knew what, at what time did they know, and why these didn't get implemented.
There's also a strict appeal that's coming from the police to people to not spread misinformation, and that could happen with social media being active. So is that going to continue? And also, if you can tell me what's going to happen going forward?
You see, I was once listening to a speech by Lee Hsien Loong, the Prime Minister of Singapore, I think a year ago at a security summit, and he said, the biggest threat is coming from, fake news, right? And I think, we see how terrible a weapon social media can be if misused. So it's a double-edged sword, right? So bad people who are trying to exploit situations for political gain, people who suddenly want to run for office, would not think twice about leveraging the power of social media to bring, discredit to sitting government.
How much damage has this caused to the country's economy? We've seen advisories come in from the US, UK, and most recently India saying do not go to Sri Lanka if not for essential purposes. How do you see this affecting the tourism industry here?
You see, let's take your country. I mean, there are so many Indian tourists here, right? And, ask the Indian tourists whether they feel any less safe than perhaps some other cities they may wish to travel to. Yes, there were a few bombs. Yes, some people perished. Yes, there were some foreign tourists. Our hearts go out. Our condolences to all the members of those families who are trying to grapple with this enormous sadness. But we continue. And after the Mumbai attacks, people didn't not visit Mumbai. After the World Trade Center attacks, people didn't stop visiting New York City. After the attacks in London, people didn't stop going to London or to Bali. We will come back.
Because every single household has a story to say. But a lot of them, it seemed like there was collective anger against the government, against the political turmoil, especially over security. So what is your message to those people?
I myself went to the St. Sebastian's Church in Katuapitiya. I spoke with the bishop, I spoke with the parish priest, I spoke with people out there. And I took the criticism, right? People were not happy with the government, and that is to be expected. After all, we are the sitting government. There is no point in blaming the opposition, for instance, or somebody else who is not in office. So we are responsible, right? We are not running away from the responsibility. Okay, we will find out what caused the security lapses. We will certainly establish what failed where. And then we will fix it. But the government is there. The government has ensured that security apparatus is now spread across this nation. People feel safe with the young men and women in uniform around their church or their place of religious worship, or at the supermarket, or at the school, or at the hospital. We are given them that safety, right? We will look after our people.
Well, Amita is there in Sri Lanka to keep getting us more input.